Aaron, would you like to give us an opening prayer?
Yeah, for sure. Our dear Father in heaven, we come before thee at this time and ask that we may have the Spirit to be with us as we discuss this case study, that we may learn insights that will help us and prepare us as we strive to be more successful and more prepared business individuals. We ask that we may learn together and to be attentive to our peers and enjoy our discussion today. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Thank you. Just a second. All right. Well, so for today's case, we're going to be talking about Rinaldi's. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Is that what you guys would say? How you'd say it?
Rinaldi, yeah.
We'll call her Martha. Martha's
Yeah.
Martha's dilemma here. She's just to kind of surmise the case. She finished school, master's degree, with a internship with Deep Dive Pizza, and then was offered a job there, but also another job with Potomac Waters, and decided to take the Potomac Waters one because of the potential benefits of training and such, even though it was quite a bit less money. And basically, we're 8 months into that now with no training, no real potential going on at the job, and a lot of frustration with no satisfaction, job satisfaction, or recognition, or really anything on the horizon. At least that's my take on it as far as the synopsis. To start off with some of the questions, what's everyone's take on how Martha got into this mess?
I think she's just eager. Sorry.
You go for it.
Okay, she's just eager to gain that experience and work for a big recognized company versus starting at a smaller company and, grow there. She wants to go big instead of starting from the bottom, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's really just unfortunate for her. I mean, she has a lot of potential and a lot of talent, and it seemed like the Potomac Waters was way better of a opportunity, but now with all this transpiring, it's just sad. She's kind of stuck, and I mean, getting into arguments with her coworker and boss is never a good thing. So it's just, to me, it was just, yeah, really sad that she is in this position.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if Martha really has a plan for where she wants to be in the long run. She looked into these and compared and thought about where she wants to be long term, because I didn't see anything indicating that Martha has a long time goal. She's just kind of latching on to whatever comes her way almost immediately. I realized she did do some looking into Potomac, but I didn't see anything about looking into other companies. It's just like, yeah, this is a better opportunity. I'll take it, and not really thinking about in the long run what's really going to make her happy when she's going into work each day.
I don't know. I mean, she mentioned a couple times that the opportunity at Deep Dive was really appealing to her, but I think she didn't feel that she had enough training for it, and that's why she went for Potomac Waters, is because she thought they would get more training. Because I think it says that it said somewhere in there that it would help her prepare for something like the opportunity at Deep Dive. So I think that's kind of what she's aiming for, but I don't know that she was confident enough to just go out and take it.
But she had already been at Deep Dive and she knew kind of how things worked there, but still, I don't know why she didn't just stay there or take that opportunity versus going to the other company.
Yeah, I know. I think that the position change was intimidating for her. That was my take on it anyway, because it was going to it's quite a jump in position. What was it that she was doing? She was going to be a manager of some sort.
Yeah, I was just looking over that. Essentially, they were offering her a position as one of their kind of senior managers. Was going to be more responsibility but less training opportunities, and so I'm not remembering or seeing the hey, that would be the training would prepare her for Deep Dive, like a position like Deep Dive, but it was still, I think part of her turnoff was the fact that it was an entrepreneurial firm, and it was kind of, its future was not as stable as as Potomac Waters, which is more of a long-term company. Bigger.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, that was a.
I think I kind of like, just to throw my 2 cents in there, I think, like her eyes were definitely a little bit bigger than, I think she was too optimistic of what the potential was at Potomac Waters. You go to a big company and expect to be, the star right away. That's going to be like, that was her expectation. It almost seemed that, I go to this big company, good reputation, get me off to a great start, as opposed to where she was already at. She had already made, they were already happy with her, and there was, they were willing to move forward with her. So I think, I agree with that. I also think that, I know I lost my train of thought. It was along with Aaron's thought there is about, just now I'm losing my train of thought. What was it? What was your primary point, Aaron?
I just don't know that she's thought really about things.
Yeah. So along those lines, yeah, that brings me. I going through there, I just really felt like she, as far as the mess that she's in, she wasn't really making a plan. And that's where where it tied in there was a plan of how to get where she wanted to go. Like she showed up at the company, and then like, hey, there's a bad set of circumstances. There's no doubt about that. We'll probably get into that a little bit more. But the fact is I felt like reading through it, she just kind of accepted what came, and she wasn't going out of her way to be herself. She was just kind of reserved and kind of keeping back. And I think if she could have helped herself out if she had a plan, like, this is what I want to do. This is how I got to do it. And oh, by the way, she's not teaching me, so I teach myself. I think she kind of undersold that element of it, that she could teach herself even from the beginning, with Deep Dive. But the fact is teaching ourselves is not it's not an unrealistic expectation, So I think planning and eyes maybe a little bit too optimistic. That was just kind of my takes on it.
I agree with underselling herself. Yeah. The part I was talking about is on page 3. It's the second paragraph. But I think she definitely could have done more. But I thought it was interesting throughout the case how you said a couple times at Deep Dive and at Potomac Waters how like she thought about the women managers around her and how many there were and like that kind of stuff. And it mentioned that Natalie was only the second female manager. in Potomac waters. So I wonder if she's trying to kind of break the glass ceiling, but I agree. She didn't really have a roadmap for doing so. And I mean, that's definitely a roadblock for you when you don't. But I think the situation with Vaughn and Natalie, I mean, made her kind of back off from them, because Vaughn was really, from the beginning, kind of antagonistic. You know, he was like, I don't like MBA grads. And, you know, I learned everything myself, and us older hands aren't going to be able to teach you much. And so I think that kind of sent her a message to kind of sit back and be quiet. And so I don't know. I don't know how I would have handled that, because I think that would have made me kind of like, whoa. I mean, personally, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think her manager, Natalie, did not help at all. I mean, I think she only made it worse, especially since she was just a recent graduate. Natalie, instead of, helping her, she just paid no attention to her, and that really affected Martha, and the fact that she didn't have a plan either. She pretty much, like Erin said, she had no idea what she wanted or what her goals were.
Okay. Anything else to add on that one? As far as her side of the mess? So we touched on Follett's or Natalie's her contribution to the situation. You want to expound on that a little bit? Just thoughts about her as a supervisor office.
I think it said that she was a star in previous positions, and now as a manager, she was kind of faltering, and that she didn't really know how to deal with that. And her working from home probably doesn't help that, especially for that long. It really is hard, at least in my experience, hard to work from home and really be, in the company culture and, all that stuff. And so I think that she's just kind of behind on things. And I mean, from the very get-go, she wasn't prepared for Martha. And I mean, that's a stumbling block for both, because you have someone eager to work, but you don't have anything for them. And so the only thing that really is going to happen in that situation is Martha is going to be asking you for work, and you're going to be like all flustered that you don't have anything. So I mean, that in and of itself, I think, is a big part of the problem with Natalie. I think she's just maybe bitten off a little more than she can chew without more training herself, maybe, or so.
And I think she created a bigger problem by leaving it up to Jamie to kind of take over and tell Martha what to do. And like you said, his attitude, it was just not nice at all. That also didn't help. Natalie just didn't take the time to train her, even to talk to her. She made no effort.
I think there's an underlying factor that kind of drives that, Susanna, how you said that doesn't really make an effort. I think so. It seems to me that Natalie doesn't even want the position. I mean, there's several times that it comes in. For example, when she's supposed to do like an employee review.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's like, okay, fine, if I have to, kind of thing. Want to do it, and I didn't see anything personal towards Martha there. It just seemed like she really was dreading, and that has a big impact when management position don't want it to be there to the point that you're almost apprehensive about doing anything, and it's an annoyance to you. When the job's an annoyance to you in a management position, almost always your people that you're managing are going to feel like they're annoyances to you. Job. So
Yeah. I think another part is, and we've talked about this in other cases, but the lack of any sort of recognition, especially in her presentation where she did all the ROI numbers and all that stuff, and then Natalie took it the next week and presented it and didn't mention her at all. And I mean, that lack of recognition will, I mean, stay in Martha's mind for a long time, I'm sure. And especially when I mean, one of her things with Potomac was that the promotions happen quickly, right? They advertise that they do, and that is one way that you get promoted, but it was totally glazed over for her. So, I mean, that's definitely an issue as well. I mean, that is a managerial thing to recognize others, but it's also a human thing. I mean, it's just kind of decent nature to recognize, especially when it's someone else's work that you're presenting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another way to show that she really doesn't care.
I think another one that we haven't touched on is the problem of Natalie having a relationship, supposed or not supposedly, with James, and how that plays into the whole situation. You know, like I don't know what work-related rules the company had. They didn't really pull that out in the case. But the fact is if you have a superior in a relationship with, you know, someone that's junior than you, there was no, you know, I guess what's the exchange for goods, so to speak, at least as far as what I could see in the case. That was like, you know, the problem is that that's not the only element of unethical behavior that comes with that. The fact is if you'd put the two together, you know, Natalie would have sided with Jamie every time, despite what you know, whatever the underlying issues or case may be, because of that relationship. So, frankly, I think that's a huge problem. I do agree that she completely doesn't care about Natalie or Natalie's training or anything else like that, but I don't think it helped either other situations that you know, she was definitely on Jamie's side.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was to Martha's disadvantage, of course.
Yeah, I did think it was interesting, like you pointed out throughout the case, it didn't bring up anything about HR. And to me, several of these instances would have been like immediate HR things. But I don't know, it didn't talk about an HR department at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I guess it wasn't part of the push of the case, but to me, that was definitely a huge issue. You know, quite frankly, she probably could have had some sort of case, equal opportunity, you know, as far as that goes, in the whole like issue there. But I mean, that's neither here nor there, I guess. But she was undertrained and underqualified for her position. You shouldn't have managers doing in a manager's position that aren't able to actually evaluate and instruct their personnel. Yeah, I don't think her attitude was very good either. So that being said, go ahead.
And I was just gonna say, you know, when Martha went to Natalie's office and she just kind of blew her off to go away, or that was just, I was like, whoa, you know, I would have run into the HR's office at that point. Yeah, I thought that was
Yeah,
rude.
I mean that's just not how you be a manager.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Vaughn's contribution? What's going on with him?
He's just
Like,
really rough.
I think Martha is just not Martha. Natalie is just giving him the freedom to do as he pleases. Why? Maybe because, like you said, they're having something to, or I don't know, but Natalie is pretty much giving him all the freedom to do whatever he wants. And he's taking advantage of that, of course.
I think Vaughn's an interesting person. I mean, he doesn't like MBAs, but that's such a general, I mean, it's crazy for someone to think that way of anything, such generalized bias. But
I think that's pretty common with like it's a jealous tendency. Like, so he didn't get it. He didn't get his MBA, and he just feels like, I got here without it. I mean, I think that's kind of almost the same verbiage. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I don't get paid, or I don't get the recognition that you've got with an MBA on your name or whatever. And like, but I don't really need it. It's just a kind of a human nature, like, you know,
hmm.
it's kind of strutting your stuff. Like I got here, it's someone trying to strut their stuff. I got here even though I didn't have that. And so to be able to feel good, you tear those that do have it down. I think that's really what that kind of boils down to. It's kind of a childish deal.
Hmm. I think, and I mean, that same attitude is what goes on later in the case with like him forwarding their conversation via email to Natalie, and then her coming down and talking to Martha. And also when Martha and Jamie got into an argument, I mean, he talked to her later, but he was like, I was just mad that I didn't get a promotion. And I mean, like you said, it's a lot of childishness. And he's been there a long time, and it says that he's good at what he does. But and that makes it really hard to work. And I mean, just the little things that he's been asking Martha to do, like she said, menial tasks. I mean, that can be hard to do for long periods of time. She's only been here for 3 months, right? I mean, 4 months, but
I think it's I think it's from February to the other, so it might be closer to 8 months. At least that's what I thought it was. I have
so
to
I
go
think
back
she
and look.
started in September of 08, and this was January of 09, right? That it starts off.
Yeah.
You're probably right. I remembered it slightly different, but
No worries. Yeah, it's like such a short amount of time, really. So only 4 months at your first real career job, and I mean, to her, it's been a lot longer because of all the tension.
yeah. So I was mistaken. February is when Vaughn started there. February of 08.
Oh,
That's when I thought she started there. My bad.
no worries.
Okay, well, let's see here. I think Vaughn. You guys hit it the nail on the head there with Vaughn. He's basically being allowed to push her around a little bit because there's no call in the military, no top cover, which is what Natalie should be doing, is making sure that everyone underneath her is being taken care of, and she's not. And because of that, Vaughn feels like he can say or do whatever he needs to make sure that he gets his stuff done and done the way he wants it and whatnot. So, with all that being said, what do you think that she should do?
What Martha should do?
Yeah.
If I was her, I would try to go to a different department, and if they say no, then I would just leave and go to deep dive. I mean, she has nothing to lose. She's not happy. It's not like she's being trained. It's not like she's gaining any more responsibilities. So she should move on. And I think the only way will be for her to go to a different department or leave the company.
I said that I think she should go to deep dive, and that was because some of the culture that she thought she was getting with the company really isn't there. And I think also just how the head guy Bautista, he sent her that email about helping one of the other girls. And I mean, it's such a little thing that for him to say, hey, you probably should be minding your own business, that I just don't know if it's really a great fit for her. She just seems so nervous the whole case. Like things just made her worried. And so I think that she should go to deep dive. And although it may not be as much as she wanted, I mean, the position is more than she wants, I think, but I think she'll have a lot more support overall, even though she isn't trained on those things. They'll work with her to get that training done. And I mean, over the course of the months she was there, she's just lost so much drive. I mean, she's like floundering at this point. So those are my reasons.
Plus she'll get paid more at deep dive.
50,000 more.
50,000, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Especially if she's going to be treated nice.
Yeah.
I'm just, I don't know what I really think she should do for the time down and make that plan. I'm all about that planning right now, mainly for the reason that comparing two companies, it seems to me that Martha she wants to be the star. She wants the best opportunity to be the star, permanent position to be the star in things. And I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't look at a company that progression and think shoot up the ladder in that company, because they're all progression and it's been that way for a long time. So obviously good minds in there, constant rate. And if she wants something that's going to propel her forward, dives the place. It's a lot bigger risk. Anything that deals with finances, that's the way it's going to be. You got the greater risk, you're getting greater return. And so she's chosen a path that's low risk, most likely low return. It'll bounce, but over a period of time. And if she just needs to figure out where she wants to be, how fast she wants to be there based on that. I realize her situation's tough with Jamie and Natalie, but really, anyone who's a committed team player, those things anyway. I realize it's a really, really tough position, but Martha is taking some big offense to things that necessarily need to take offense to and do a heated debate about. So that's still not set on it, but that's where I would suggest.
So that would be stay or go or deal with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where I've gotten to.
I'm very much on the same page as you, Aaron, in the sense that I think irregardless of where she goes or what, she's got a lot of room for improvement, both in making the plan, self-educating herself, spend a bit of time. We've gone through the book reading about, building relationships of trust. You know, part of working towards that is taking the obstacles that you currently have, and working to make them better. Whether it's, the reality is that deep dive, she didn't really run into huge obstacles. How would she have reacted there? So I think that's an element we all have to look at. It's always easy to blame everything else and around us, but how can I change the situation? How can I do things better? That makes like I said, I didn't think she was working as hard as she could at work at making those changes herself. But regardless, if given the question, yes, no, or stay, I would say go. My reasons for that: one, if you're going to be working, you might as well be happy. Number one. Number two, there's a lot of things you can learn by just doing and getting the experience. The fact is, at this point, whether she's 3 or 4 or 6 months out from getting her MBA, like that's not necessarily going to be the end all be all. Even if she worked for Deep Dive for the next 5-10 years, a very enjoyable stepping stone into, Natalie's position, or even above that in a much bigger company that's got the better reputation. I don't know, just my thoughts. I think that's the direction I would say is, one, she's got to work on herself regardless of where she goes, because the grass isn't always greener on the other side. She may go back to Deep Dive and run into an issue and, be right in the same situation where, there's uncomfortable situation, and now she doesn't know how to handle it. So, but like I said, I think I would say I would recommend going back to the deep dive. So, what do you think actually happened? Good.
Hopefully she left to Deep Dive.
Okay.
The thing is that they don't say how other departments work, what the culture is. Well, they kind of did at the beginning when she was there, but it seems like everything was not true, or they made it seem like it was all nice. So we kind of don't know if it's just that one department or the whole company. But I hope she left. I hope she went to Deep Dive.
Any other thoughts?
I think she tried to go back, but Deep Dive already filled her position, and they offered her a different one, and she didn't want it, so she stayed at Potomac.
Wait.
Aww.
All right. So here's what happened. She decided to stick it out. She stayed there at Potomac Waters, and Follett and Vaughn both left shortly afterwards. And Martha learned that Natalie had been job hunting the whole time that she'd been there. That's part of the reason why Natalie was pretty much disengaged. Is she was already checked out, packed, dropped, ready to move on somewhere else. And Vaughn left basically at the same time. Combination. Martha ended up with 2 new bosses who both admired her work and relied on her, and she was promoted ahead of schedule. So
were they having
an
affair or no?
I don't know.
It doesn't say.
It was just rumored, and then they were really close. Well, they should have. But yeah, that's the 50 Shades of Grey details that they don't give us.
Oh dear.
Well, that turned out good, I guess, for Martha.
Yeah, that was a big turn. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going to happen. So sometimes
for sure.
that's
Yeah.
probably not what I would have done. I would have probably been frustrated and left.
Me
But
too.
I don't know. I say that, but yeah, like I got projects projects that I'm holding on to for years, and I just keep holding on to them. So who knows? Maybe, but
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they didn't give us any clues that they might be leaving soon, or that, that they were like really unhappy with their position or whatever. They didn't give us any clues. So,
well, I think that would have given. I mean, there wasn't as much substance as there has been in the previous one. So if they'd given away too much, then you make it too easy. But just to wrap this up, what do you think? Martha about herself?
Well, I think a lot of what you were saying, actually, just persevering and learning to self-train or self-learn, and I'm sure she probably learned that. I mean, those are valuable things in spite of difficulties or trial,
and I think she did try. She tried her best. I mean, she was trying to help in other departments as well. And the thing that didn't help her was not contributing in the meetings after the first time that she tried. And then after that, she kind of gave up. But still, she stayed, and that paid off.
The next here kind of ties into that. Aaron, if you got feedback on that one, feel free to chime in on that too. But what did you learn about yourself, and what motivates you at work?
I think I learned.
Go ahead.
All right, I was gonna say I think I learned a little bit about, I guess, just self-evaluating in any position that you're placed into, because the new job that I've gotten is a really good opportunity, and I'm excited about it. But I can't expect that going in there that things are going to be exactly the way. So it was kind of nice to have this study at right about the time that I'm getting the new job, because then I can sort of check myself and think, with the employees, how can I give myself the best chance of learning new things? How can I take initiative to learn things that may not be taught to me because other people are busy, type thing. So I think that's kind of what I learned is to always check and look for ways to learn on our own.
I mean, for me, I know that I am really non-confrontational, and I probably would have gone along with the flow for too long. I did that in a previous job for like a year and a half, and my husband was like, quit, and I didn't. But I think, for reading this, I mean, it turned out really great for her in a short amount of time as well. So that's really good. I mean, she stuck through it and was still willing to jump back up to the level she was at before, it seems like, from what you read. And I think, I mean, I don't know, my personal experience would tell me that I would go along with things a little too long. And probably in this situation, with it being short, it would have been fine. But I don't know. I like Aaron was saying, kind of check yourself and really think through the opportunity and the costs of either way.
Well, for me, I actually just got promoted to HR, and I'm kind of already not looking forward to it. But so I'm looking forward to apply what I'm learning through the book and these cases, because there's this other lady. She's a scientist. She has her PhD and all these things, and I'm like, oh, okay. But already she one of the HR forms, she told me that she's going to modify them. And then I was like, well, that's my job. I'm gonna do it. So I was like, okay, but I should just change my attitude, you know, and stay positive, and which I'm really trying to do, but you know, but yeah, and like tomorrow I need to go in and answer one of her emails that she sent, and she sent it to the boss, the one that's in charge. It's a nonprofit organization, but the person in charge, she sent it to him as well. So I'm really trying to think how to answer that email in a nice way, but still letting her know, you know, that she's going a little too far with it. But so I think that this case especially is helping me, and I just hope that I'm more, I don't even know what word to use, but more understandable, I guess. More, you know, I think of what I'm gonna say instead of just saying it, and come as I'm not being part of a team. So like I said, I know I'm just learning a lot through these cases. So wish me luck tomorrow. and so I wish I could be like Martha, you know, and just do what I'm supposed to be doing and stick it out, but I don't know.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm probably gonna need it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got, but change I did pay.
I think you froze, Parley. I don't know if you can hear us, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't hear him.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's back now.
Are you back?
Okay. Since it is pretty close to 8:30, I'm gonna head out really quick. So,
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna head out really quick, guys. Well, I'll try and watch the last part of the video later on.
Okay, Aaron.
Okay. See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh man.
But yeah, it looks like it worked out well. Can you hear me now?
It's choppy, but I can hear you.
Yeah.
Martha, sounds like we all learned something from it.
Yep.
So.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.